Well, we've always said that clean sheets were overrated. It's a cold night in North London. The second half performance warmed up the Kingstonian. A 3-2 win here at Haringey after being 2-0 down at half-time. Hayden, let's not dwell too much on the first half, but what was the big difference between the two halves for you?
I said before the game that, you know, we're going to have bumps in the road this season. Good sides don't lose twice. It was a disappointing day on Saturday, and non-league being what it is, we wanted to come in and train on Monday to prep for today. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. So suddenly you find yourself going into a team meeting at 6:15 to try and right the wrongs, and obviously there's a lot of conversations that's taking place. But the upshot of it is, I think the first half was a little bit of a hangover of Saturday, if I'm honest with you. And the message to the players, in no uncertain terms, I've got to say today, was that we have to put in a performance that defines us. If we come here and we lose in the manner that we were losing, I mean, no disrespect to Tom, I think Tom's a great manager, he's got a super team. But if we had come here and lost in the manner that we were losing, that would have been utterly weak and utterly pathetic. And I made it clear to the players, that does not define us. You have to put in a performance that defines us. And they did. And because immediately they took on the tactical information and we played the game at a pace that we wanted to, and the pressing went to a different level, that allowed me to be a little bit creative, I think it's fair to say, with the changes, with Gus going to fullback and Rishmael Williamson going to left back, and really playing two at the back.
Yeah.
So we're really flying now. You've seen Jason Bantam play as a number 8 today, drifting into the number 4. It's not something that you would associate with him, but Jason Bantam was the game changer, as was Fabio moving into midfield. And I think that those two players deserve immense credit.
I mean, there were tactical changes in the second half, but also there was, even, you know, as soon as they came out in the second half, it felt like a different team. Is that just getting it up them at half time? Is it an attitude change? What do you put that down to?
Look, you know me, I like to keep conversations in the dressing room in the dressing room, but the first half was simply not good enough. The first half is, we have to accept that probably every game we're going to have all of the ball, so you can't confuse possession with performance. And I felt that the goals that we conceded, if we want to become a top team, were poor goals. Really to score directly from a corner, I always think there's no excuse to concede from a corner, a set piece like that. I use the analogy to the players that that's our house. We have to protect our house. I mean, we didn't for the first goal. It simply wasn't good enough. The second goal was a consequence of not pressing in the right areas. It was far too passive, so they've gone 2-0 up, and I felt that epitomised the first half. And I just think that they needed reminding of what's made us successful. It certainly wasn't performances like that, but I want to say that as bad as we were in the first half, we were as good in the second half, and the players coupled their ability with a completely different attitude to the game and amazing character. And to be fair, when we scored that first goal, I felt that we were going to win. I felt they were a little bit rocked by it. I think suddenly we were moving through the gears quicker, and it's hard for Tom. It's terrible to lose games when you've been 2-0 up. It's happened to everybody. Fortunately for Haringey, it's happened to them today. Fortunately for us. But the pendulum swung and the game was only going one way, and the players deserve a great credit for that. And every game's a big game now. Perhaps this is the biggest 3 points of the season so far.
I was going to say, how important, after the defeat and the manner of it on Saturday, how important was it to come away with a result, even if not, you know, the results obviously at this stage of the season more important than the performance, but how important was that tonight?
Well, I would say that losing to Enfield is not a drama, in so much as, you know, sometimes in football, the result clouds people's judgment. In as much as I've been involved in games before where we've been terrible and we've won, and people have said, "Oh, you're brilliant," and you've been great and you've lost, and people, "Oh, terrible performance." But the one thing that I learned is there are two sides on the pitch. So we have to give Enfield credit because Enfield were very good. There's no doubt about that. But we were the architects of our own downfall, and the defending against Enfield was passive. I've watched the game again. It might surprise you to hear that we had as many chances as they did, but they had, I think, 5 chances and scored 5 goals. I don't want to be unkind, I don't want to take anything away from Andy's team, but they were 5 gifts. And we saw that again today. And you know, the league is so tight, we simply can't have that. And you know, it's not often that I've had to go into the dressing room and tell everybody what I think of them. Today and Bogner, probably the only 2. But in answer to the question, sorry, it's a very long-winded answer. It was massive for us today. I think it was absolutely massive for us today.
And you could see that on the players. You know, the celebrations after the 3rd goal. They knew the importance of it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did. You know, it's a big week. It's a big week for Kingstonian. We were disappointed Saturday. We now need to work hard Thursday. We're playing Merstham on Saturday, who will have a big motivation for obvious reasons to beat us. Then we go to Potter's Bar. They'll have a big motivation to beat us, obviously, because of what happened. But with respect to Potter's Bar and with respect to Merstham, I don't unkindly or disrespectfully say you would put them down as 2 games which are winnable games. So this was probably the most difficult one in the trio on paper anyway, and it's massive that we come away with the 3 points. I've got to say, I'm really pleased. I'm so pleased. You try and be cool, and I'm absolutely elated, and I'm elated that the players responded as only these players can.
Indeed. Well, great result, great night. We'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you.